Everyone, so in this episode, we're going to be fulfilling our order with the items from our cart. So the customer is going to get charged based on the items in the cart rather than just a static value. So to do this, we'll need to make some amendments in our domain model. So if you see this link, we can see which product links to the order, but we cannot necessarily tell what size it is or how much of that product we purchased. So over here, we can create a prop and we can say how much of that product have they purchased. And additionally, we can make a stock ID and give it a stock as well. So we have a link to the stock. Okay, so now when we buy a product, we know what product it is, we know which stock it is, and we know how much of that stock we have bought. Good. Another thing, let's close this, and another thing we want to take care of is if we go into our checkout and payment, you see that we have this Stripe token, and from this Stripe token, we create a customer reference to the Stripe payment that is being made on their side. And that's the Stripe, that reference is this customer.id, this ID property. It's a string, and this is something we would want to link to the order for our sake, not for our user's sake. So let's go into our order, and let's make another property here, and let's call it customer, or rather Stripe reference. Okay, good. Let's close that. Okay, so we have our Stripe reference. We have our link, a proper link to our product. Now, what we need to do is get the order from our cart, so we can then create a proper charge amount, and we can then create an order for us from that information. So the information, we have all the information we need. Really, we know which products they're buying in the cart, and we know which what customer information they submitted. So let's do just that. Let's create a new service in here, and let's create get order.cs. Let's go into our get customer information, and let's copy everything. Actually, and let's open up get cart as well. Let's copy everything from get cart. Go into our get order, and let's replace everything here. Fix the constructor. Fix basically fix all the namespaces here. Let's get the cart product. Cool, and let's make sure we have the include. Okay, so you see we have this response here. So we're gonna have a list of products. So there's gonna be multiple products. So let's rename this to product. And let's keep the quantity here. And another thing we will need here is a product ID. Let's remove this. And let's actually introduce another integer, and we'll call it value. Okay. Now we also want to add a response. So this is actually something we're going to be returning. So response. And in here, we're going to have a collection of this product. And let's call it products. Okay. Let's remove this thing here, and we're just going to be writing it from scratch. Let's take this cart and rename it to cart, and make sure we pass in the same thing here. We can remove the guard because at this point we can be sure that the user shouldn't really be able to go to payment without having a cart and without submitting customer information. So at this point, we don't really need the guard here. Okay, so let's create our collection of products for our order information. So what do we have in our list of cart products? let's take a look. We have the stock ID, we have the quantity ID. So let's create a variable, list of products, and let's go to our context. Same as before, let's look at our stock. Let's make sure we are including the product. And now let's get all the let's make sure we're getting all the stock items with their product information that we have in our cart. Okay, and now from this, we want to select our product here. Okay, I'm sorry, I make this new product. And we're going to cast it to a list. Let's see. All right, so not an assignment operator, but rather a comparison operator. So for our list of products, we need a product ID, which we can get here. We need quantity, but let's first fill out the stock ID. That's just going to be this ID here. Value is going to be x product dot value, and you got to remember that it's a decimal. And when we submit our payment to Stripe, this is $5, and you can see that it's an integer. So what we will need to do is make sure you can see that it's already complaining about the cast from decimal to int. So we will need to cast it to a integer, and we will have to multiply it by 100 to give it that sort of decimal point. So we want to multiply first, and then we want to cast it, because if we cast it first, it's gonna lose the decimals. So we're gonna lose the pennies. So if it's like $9.99, we're gonna lose the 99 cents. So it's 99 cents is big profit. So you want to keep that. And let's move to our quantity, which we get from our cart list. First, our default, and we want to get stock ID equals xid, and from here, sorry, equals too much Visual Basic, and we want quantity. At this point, we have our list of products. Let's go to our get customer information. Let's get the customer information here, and let's do customer information. Right, and here where we're going to be deserializing the object here. Let's rename this to customer info string, and we can put this here. And let's create let's just grab this object here. Let's put this here, and let's call it customer information. Now, you may see we have a little bit of a code duplication here. We're using single responsibility principle, and in this case, this is code duplication, since if we store this when we add customer information, so this object right here, to our request, if we change it here, this is going to break our functionality in get customer information and in our get order. So when we get it here, so what we want to do here is this object that we deserialize and serialize, we want to sort of bring it out. So let's go into our models and let's create customer information.cs. Let's take all this thing we submit here. Let's put it in our customer information here. Okay. And we're going to remove all the data annotation here. So in our add customer information, we want to create a variable, customer information equals new customer information. And let's quickly populate this object. First name equals first name. Copy this a few times. Okay, nice. And now we want to store this customer information. Sorry. We want to do this above here. We want to serialize the customer information. Okay, nice. Now let's go fix our get customer information. So here, we don't want to deserialize it into a request. We want to deserialize it into our get customer information. Sorry, deserialize it into our customer information. So again, we use the model that we have in our domain. So let's make a variable customer information. And let's return a new response. Let's copy all of this onto here. Let's take copy customer information. Select this field, Control H, type in request, tab, Control V, and now Alt A to replace all these occurrences in this selection. And there we go. And actually we want the request here. And this really should be a response. There we go, nice. So we're doing a little bit of code cleanup here, which is good. Now let's go into our get order. And here again, we don't want to use this customer information. We don't want to be using the customer information from our actually using wrong namespace. So not good. Customer information using shop domain models. Let's make sure that I didn't make a mistake here. I did place this and shop domain model. Okay. And we want to do shop.domain.models.customer information. Okay, so we're using the correct. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. I don't want to. Sorry for confusing you guys. In our get order, in our cart, let's make sure we're using shop.domain.model customer information. So now this is our customer information. Cool. And in our response, we want to create another prop, and let's call it customer information. Customer information. And let's create a new response. For products, we want to add a list of products. Make sure we're not returning a list of response, just a single response. And we want customer information. And new customer information. Okay, let's go into our get customer information, copy this code here, paste it in here, and voila, it works. So I know this might have been a bit confusing. You might need to rewatch this, but quickly to just step over what we did. Basically, this customer information here, this customer information object in our domain models, this is the object that is sort of saying, right, this is what will have to be stored in our cart, same as something would have to store in our database. We basically define the model for the state that we want to store. So this is all the information that we need. Okay. And if we change this information, we want its counterparts all across the program to sort of say break, because we don't want to introduce bugs. We want to see what breaks and we want to adjust it accordingly. So now the parts that it links to is, if you right click, you can find all references, and you can see the files where it's getting used. All right. So if you ever lost, you kind of you see we have get customer information. So this is the part where we're getting our customer information from our cart, and we are returning that response. Get order, this is where we want to create the order, and we are again deserializing it from the cart. And add customer information, this is when we're trying to store this domain model in our cart. So basically, the whole premise of it, anything that goes in or out of our cart session has to be this domain model. All right. Otherwise, your code may be prone to bugs, and you might have to maintain this customer information in multiple places, and you don't want to do that. Let's close this. Okay, this has been might have been quite tedious, but let's carry on. So, and if you don't understand what's going on here and you just copied it, make sure you step over this code a few times. Just read through it line by line and sort of see what's going on here. So let's go into our payment CS.html. And right at the top here, let's create our cart order. New get order. And here we want to pass HTTP context session. And in our constructor here, we will need our application DB context. Let's move these two properties up here, actually. I don't like them sitting down there. Okay, and let's pass in our DB context here as well. And now let's call do. Okay, so now in our onPost, we have our order object. So what else we can do here is let's give this class a method. So public integer get total charge, and let's make this an expression. So we want to go into our products and we want to sum, and we want to sum up the value multiplied by the quantity. So this is going to get the total charge for all of our products. Okay. So here where we set the amount, let's take our card order, rename it to cart order. So to rename like that, you press Ctrl R twice. And let's get total charge. Okay, so let's rename the description to shop purchase. Currency, let's change it to GBP. And customer ID, let's keep it at that. Okay, so let's leave it here for now. Let's run the application and see if we break anything. So let's take our product name 2. Let's add two of these. Let's go back here. Let's take test update. Let's add a medium. Let's add one of these. Okay, so let's go to checkout. We really need a button here, but I'll add that later. Quickly fill out this form. Submit. Fill out the cart payment. Okay, submit the payment. Cool. Now taking a look at my Stripe dashboard, Looking at the payments dashboard, 709. So let's see how much we charged. I am bad at maths, so let's bring out the calculator. 2.99 plus 2.99, so we took two of those, and we took 2.11, 709, and there we have our charge of 709. Okay, guys, so as you can see, it's working. Our shop is pretty much nearing completion, and you can already smell that entrepreneurship. What's it called? Building your own shop, getting your own products from Alibaba, selling them, getting your own print, custom. That. Uh, and basically, all we have left to do is sort of create the orders, the order page, and then making the shop look the way you want it to do. So that's going to be the real creative processes. I'm going to show you a bunch of stuff what you can do, but that's going to be towards the end of the series. And I'll, depending on the questions I get in the comments, I will make a few more episodes, maybe answering those questions. And obviously, things left to do. We got to set up the orders, display those orders, separate the admin panel. We're going to be using claims in this episode as compared to our blogs where we used roles. I'm going to be explaining claims, what they are, how they work, etc. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And the last episode is gonna be a pretty long one where I'm just gonna style using Bulma, etc. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I know this has been a long episode and maybe a little bit confusing, but take your time, step through the code, right click on objects and find all references. You can see where sort of the path that the objects take through your program are. So hope you enjoyed this video. If it's been confused, if anything is confusing you, please leave a comment. I would like to clear it up for you. As always, see you in the next episode.